Hello everyone, Chef here. Earlier this year, for Chef's Chilled Summer, I decided to look at what I thought was the most hated location ever to be added into Fortnite. So it only makes sense now to take a look at the direct opposite, the history of Fortnite's most loved location. But before I start, there may be some people out there who disagree that Tilted is the most loved location in Fortnite. I just titled the video that for simplicity's sake, so yeah. Shh. When Fortnite first released, Tilted Towers wasn't on the map. Instead, where Tilted would eventually be was a grassy hill area with a couple of shacks around. Little did people know who played at that time that this insignificant area would become of one gaming's as a whole most remembered locations. Season 2 rolled around, and in the update 2.20, 3 new locations were added: Jump Junction, Shifty Shafts, and Tilted Towers. And out of all these 3, the most popular of the locations was Tilted Towers, for a variety of reasons. First was its position on the map, being directly over the centre, so in most games there would probably be a storm circle there, or near there. Secondly, the battle bus flew directly across it in most matches, again, due to its position. Thirdly, popular Fortnite streamers at the time like Ninja and Nitmerks took a liking to it, which influenced their viewers to land there. And fourthly, it had a pretty high chest count, with 36 chests spawning every match. Towards the latter half of Season 3, multiple props were put on the top of most buildings in Tilted. These signs were welcoming signs, welcoming aliens, since above a meteor was heading to the island. Originally, Tilted was going to be the location that would have got hit by the meteor, but with a mixture of people finding out and wanting to mix stuff up a bit, the devs made the meteor hit Dusty Depot instead, and we all know the story from there. The impact from the meteor didn't just hit Dusty Depot, but other parts of the map as well, such as the prison near Moisty Mire and the office building next to the Trump Tower in Tilted, and throughout the course of the season, the remains of the building would be cleaned up, making way for a new building. The next building to be added in the crash site was a sports shop which was crushed by Kevin in week 9 of Season 5. Around this time in Fortnite's lifetime was when Tilted got the reputation that it would be remembered for forever. It's a place half the lobby would go each match. The next building to be added was a radio station that was built up through the course of Season 6 and was fully complete by Season 7. Tilted was partly covered in snow from the iceberg crashing into the island, and near the end of the season, due to the prisoner awakening and regaining its strength, earthquakes started occurring on the island, one of these being at Tilted Towers, once again repeating the cycle and destroying the radio station. Oh yeah, and Tilted got completely covered in snow from the Season 7 live event, like the rest of the map. The start of this season got rid of the snow at Tilted, and had a new building constructed in the unlucky spot again. This was now the famous headquarters of the mysterious organisation, No Sweat Insurance, and was fully constructed sometime before the end of Season 8. Then in the unvaulting event, probably due to the power surging through the island when the vault opened, the volcano erupted, spewing gigantic bits of lava everywhere, hitting Retail Row, Polar Peak, and Tilted Towers. The eruption completely destroyed Retail Row and Tilted Towers, with only one building remaining there, the No Sweat Insurance headquarters. The building in the place of buildings that would get destroyed every season since Season 4, but somehow it managed to survive. From the vault being rediscovered, someone, presumably Singularity or the government, made a decision to use it as a power source, build high-tech equipment and buildings, and from this they remade Retail Row and Tilted Towers into Mega Mall and Neo Tilted. Neo Tilted was like Tilted Towers from before, with some of the old building concepts getting updated designs, like the Clock Tower, and they also added in new buildings like Peely's Banana Stand and some apartments. Around the middle of Season 9, Fortnite did a collaboration with John Wick for the upcoming 3rd movie, and a part of this collab had the Confidential from the John Wick movies inside of Neo Tilted that had a Rift Zone-like effect because when a player entered, they couldn't get their weapons out. Also throughout Season 9, some old things from the original Tilted were transported to Jump Junction, such as the ruins of the Clock Tower and some old furniture, where it remained for the rest of Chapter 1. Neo Tilted also held significance, because during the live event The Final Showdown, the Mecha Team leader picked up the Singularity statue in Neo Tilted that turned out to be a sword, which he slayed the Devourer with. The first location to be changed by a Rift Beacon was Neo Tilted, after being in the game for about 9 weeks, being one of the most shortest lived locations in the game's history. The first time around, the Rift Beacon changed Neo Tilted into Tilted Town, an old western variant of Tilted, where there was no building or no break-in. This location captured a couple of things Tilted had, like the Clock Tower, but also had some of the things a Wild West town would have, such as a mine, saloon, and a prison. A month and a couple of weeks later, a Batarang appeared in Tilted Town in a hay bale, hinting at a Batman collaboration, and later that week, a Rift Beacon was set up again in Tilted, and this time, it brought up Batman's hometown, Gotham City. However, This wasn't the Gotham City like Stark Industries was the actual Stark Industries. Instead, this was a Fortnite-fied version of Gotham to suit the layout of Tilted, bringing in Fortnite-related places like Noms, a taco shop, and a mini no-sweat insurance, while also having buildings from Batman's universe like Bruce Wayne's business, Ace Chemicals, and his destroyed bank from the Joker. And well, after Gotham City was added, a couple of weeks later, the end event happened, destroying the map, but about 2 days later, there was a new world to explore. In the landmark camp cod, there was a barn which inside had a variety of different Chapter 1 props and furniture, such as the Sunny Steps totems and the Retail Row water tower, and propped up on the wall was none other than a broken clock from the original clock tower that still worked after all it had been through. Around the middle of Chapter 2 Season 1 and after, until Salty Towers was added, was when many people started to miss Tilted, making videos on it and remaking creative. One of the most popular maps to this day in creative that came out in this time period is a Zone Worlds map for Tilted Towers, which a ton of people still play daily. In Chapter 2 Season 4's live event, The Devourer of Worlds, Galactus freed the Zero Point from the bridge and destabilised it in an attempt to consume it. And due to this, the Zero Point created a desert environment and started to spurt out different things, such as old locations and old weapons surrounding it. And something no one ever saw coming was this, Salty Towers. Salty Towers was a fusion between one of Chapter 2's most popular locations and Chapter 1's most popular location, with the buildings from Tilted being placed where they were on the Chapter 1 map. The buildings present from Tilted Towers were from around Season 3 of Chapter 1, with there being the OG office there that got removed in Season 4 due to a part of the meteor hitting it. Alongside this, the Clock Tower, Fish Apartments, Taco Shop, Trump Tower, also known as the Castle Building, Nom Store, and the bus stop were all there. And due to, well, it being in a desert, a lot of the interior of the location was wrecked due to the sand. Even though Tilted was technically back, a large portion of the playbase still wanted the original Tilted back and hammered on about it through the rest of the chapter. One of the only actual good things to come from this season. In the Zero Crisis event, reality waves from the destabilising Zero Point hit the map, destroying a lot of the locations near it and turning the map into a primal-like state. Salty Towers was one of the locations to be hit by the reality waves, with most of the Salty Springs buildings getting destroyed, the Tilted Towers buildings barely surviving. So the primal people moved in and started to rebuild the location out of wood, and putting their own little twist on the building. Salty Towers was renamed to Bony Burbs. A minor change happened to Bony Burbs. It got corrupted by the conversions near the end of the season. After the island flipped over, revealing the other side, most of the map was covered in snow, hiding some places we'd only get to see after the snow melted. One of these places was the landmark Frosty Fields, which people as soon as they saw the map realised that chunks of the ice sticking out were in the shape of some of the buildings that were in Tilted Towers, and it matched the layout of Tilted on the map as well. And on the 18th of January 2022, on the second update of Chapter 3 Season 1, the snow melted once again, but this time it revealed Tilted Towers in all of its glory. This Tilted Towers was pretty much a carbon copy of the original Tilted Towers, apart from the fact that it had been changed up to match the Chapter 3's art style. And it had the No Sweat Insurance building instead of the offices that are originally there when Tilted was added on the Chapter 1 map, and it was in a sort of a different area as well, with it facing Loot Lake. And another fun little Easter egg, on the side of a couple of buildings, worn out paintings of some of the companies that are in Neo-Tilted, like the Double Pump Buffet and the Turtle Inn. Next season, in Chapter 3 Season 2, the Imagined Order resurfaced after spending time rebuilding their army, after the bridge was destroyed in the Chapter 2 finale event. Essentially a last-ditch effort to try and reclaim everything back that they had lost. At first, their attempts were successful, managing to capture a large portion of the map's locations, turning them into outposts where they would monitor them from above with a blimp. And one of the locations the IO reclaimed was Tilted Towers, which had the most change to it. Pretty much every building had its usual stuff thrown to one side and replaced with IO tech. For example, the house next to the clock tower had all of its furniture moved to the garage and was replaced with a bunch of computers and artifacts, and the L apartments were turned into a place to house the IO soldiers. And throughout the season, we had the ability to reclaim IO occupied locations, and the last one was Tilted Towers. However, something quite strange happened with Tilted Towers. Usually how it went was when a new update came out with a battle of the location starting, and by the next update, that location was reclaimed by the Resistance. But with Tilted, the battle for it happened not in the location itself, but on the fields to the right of it. And when the new update released, the battle for Tilted Towers was still ongoing, but something had happened. Sadly, some of its iconic buildings got destroyed in the Raging War, but the Hun Master Saber refused to stand down, as the blimp was still functional. But by the next update, Tilted Towers was finally reclaimed by the Resistance, who destroyed the final blimp and moved into Tilted, reclaiming it and attempting to fix some of the damage they had caused. After the 0 point was freed in the collision event, a lot had changed on the island, and Tilted Towers at the start was getting reconstructed from the prior damage. And before the No Sweat Summer update, the Block 2.0 was announced, but instead of designing a whole new POI, we'd get to design some buildings for Tilted Towers. And when No Sweat Summer dropped, every week we would get to choose a new building, and by the end of the event, 3 new buildings were added into Tilted, although they weren't that unique and felt like things we'd already seen in the game before. But congrats nonetheless to the people that won. And at the start of the season, the organisation No Sweat Insurance, who had their HQ at Tilted, used their new invention, the No Sweat Floaters, to elevate their HQ into the air. And throughout the season, they had moved to a variety of different areas, where they would help out putting other buildings and whatnot onto floaters in an attempt to save them from the chrome. In the last update of the chapter, the chrome had finally spread to the beloved POI, corrupting most of the buildings, with only the clock tower getting a No Sweat floater. I feel like if they could, they would have done something more with Tilted when it got chromed, but they didn't because of the Block 2.0 buildings. After Reality Zero was destroyed by the Herald fusing with the Reality Tree, small parts of the island floated around in space, when the 0 point slowly started to drag them together, to form a smaller island, for us to find Zero fragments to power up the 0 point so the paradigm could enact Zero fusion, fusing different realities together to hide the 0 point. And floating about was none other than the clock tower, although slightly dismantled and broken up. And somehow in the landmark called Cavern, the area that looks like an ordinary mountain near Brutal Bastion, inside lies a gigantic cavern, with none other than the famous clock tower inside, although in need of some repairs. God knows how it got here though, since the state it was in the Fracture event, but oh well, it's still nice it's here. When we will see Tilted Towers back again fully is unknown, especially because of the direction Fortnite is going in, sadly and very stupidly, disregarding most of the story they've been building on for the past 4 years, and making a new one that's kinda a prequel to the main story in a sense. Well, who knows, we may see it since the impact it's had on Fortnite as a whole. But it's not that bad, since in Chapter 3, we got the entire Chapter 3 Tilted Towers as an island in creative, so its legacy can still live on. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. This was supposed to come out in December, but due to stuff happening, I couldn't get it out until now. And if you haven't seen my community posts, uploads are going to be very sporadic this year, due to me focusing my attention on school more than on YouTube. But there will be some more videos out at some point. But this is all for now, thank you for watching, and see ya.